Hello and welcome to another Stamp with Amy K Facebook Live video. And today we're gonna be making a little card with the Life is Beautiful stamp set, which as you may or may not know is one of my very favorite stamp sets in the catalog. So in the new, I should say the mini catalog. I definitely love this one. It's got so many different uses. I know I've made a bunch of fall cards with it. So I'm excited to be able to make a winter or a Christmas card with it to share with you today. So hopefully you like this one. And like I said, it's just kind of, it's a white on white. So hopefully it's showing up okay on the screen. Hey, Karen and Lori, thanks so much for hopping in today. So there's a little embossing on the background of it. I'll hold it up for a second, kind of closer to the screen. So hopefully you can see it, the winter snow embossing folder on the background. Hi, Mary, glad you're here as well. And again, the Life is Beautiful stamp set. The sentiment is actually from the Wrapped in Christmas stamp set, which this is another one of those really good ones. It's just got, you know, a good assortment of sentiments in it. So we're going to use it's the most wonderful time of the year for the card front, and then let the joy of the season fill your heart for the inside of the card. So definitely some good stamp sets. And again, these are both from the the August to December 2020 mini catalog that is, and these are both available now. So I will set those aside. A couple other things that I used on this sentiment I actually cut out with one of the stitched ovals dies, or stitched shapes dies, I guess I should say. It's the oval die from the stitched shapes stamp die set. Having trouble with words again today. Hey, Akiko and Tammy and Marilyn. I'm glad that you are here. I don't know if I missed anyone else coming in. Oh, looks like Jeannie's here, and Julie and Denise. So, hey, good to see you all, and I appreciate you being here and saying hello. So, all right, so we've got the die set that I used, and the second die set that I used, of course, is my standard issue one that I use on pretty much all the cards. You know, I can't not use it. I don't know why. I use the stitched rectangle dies. And in particular, I used this one, it's the third largest one of the kind of wider rectangles. It measures about 3 inches by about 4 3/4, I think, 4 3/8. I'm sorry, inches is what this one measures. So, so this is the other die set that we're using. Hey, Lois, I'm glad that you're here as well. And the background was embossed with the winter snow embossing folder. Hopefully you can see that okay. But it's a really pretty one, kind of just dainty little winter snowflakes on the background. Definitely a good one. And again, this one is in the mini catalog as well. So go take a peek at it if you don't have it yet. Again, this is another one of those really good ones that can be used for everything from Christmas cards to winter cards to hello cards to birthday cards that have people in the winter have, you know, whatever. So it's all good. Hey, Julene, glad you're here as well. One thing I did want to chat about really quickly before we get started is the Curvy Celebrations stamp set bundle is available. Hey, Ruby, glad you're here. From rainy Wisconsin, and Brenda as well. Hey, thanks for joining today. So it is absolutely beautiful here today. Now, I know it's supposed to change tomorrow, I've heard. I think today is our last day of nice weather, but it's like 70 degrees outside and sunny and fantastic. So, hey, Samantha, thanks for hopping in today. So we've got the Curvy Celebrations stamp set bundle and the Quite Curvy Variety bundle that are available right now. So the Quite Curvy bundle is just the stamp set and the curvy dies that go with it. So this is one bundle that's an option to get right now. Then there is a second set of products here, which is the Curvy Christmas stamp set and the Classic Christmas 6" by 6" Designer Series paper that are both available right now. And then they have the Variety Bundle, which is the Quite Curvy Variety Bundle, and that includes everything on this page for a 10% discount off of everything, which is kind of a good deal because usually Stampin' Up! Doesn't do the bigger bundles like this. So it's definitely a good one if you are interested in these products to grab it at the 10% discount. The Quite Curvy bundle is actually going to be carried forward, and that one will be in the next mini catalog. So the January to June 2021 mini catalog, you'll see this appear again, and you'll be able to purchase the items individually if you would prefer to do that rather than the bundle. But the bundle you get 10% off, so you'll definitely want the bundle. But the Curvy Christmas stamp set and the designer paper, the Classic Christmas designer paper, are only available until January 4th. And after that, they will go away forever. So if these two are items that you're wanting, definitely take a look at those and grab them before they're gone on January 4th. Hey, Kathy, thanks for hopping in. I was just chatting with you by email. So, and I see Debbie is here as well. So thanks for joining in today. All right, let's get moving on the card. And I have pre-embossed ahead of time. This is a piece of Whisper White cardstock cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and it should fit perfectly on the front of the card. This is a thick Whisper White card base. Can you purchase the dies or stamp separately? Not right now, Debbie. You'll have to wait until the catalog goes live for ordering in January. So the only way you can get the dies is in the bundle. So, but like I said, if you aren't interested in the stamp set that is bundled with the dies, you can always, if the Christmas one is the one you're wanting, you can always order the Christmas one now and then get the dies when they're available in January. So. Using a little bit of multi-purpose liquid glue on my original card, I did the normal fold like I usually do, which is the kind of tent fold on it, and we're going to make this one a book fold card. And so this card base is cut to 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 and scored at 4 1/4, where this one is cut to 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5 1/2. So either way, still the same card, same way to decorate it, just a little different fold on the card is all. So all right, so we've got those two adhered together. Then we're going to do a little bit of stamping, and I had pre-cut this so that, you know, one less thing I had to run through the die cutting machine. So we're going to do a little bit of stamping on this. This is Whisper White cardstock, and again, I cut it with the stitched rectangle die. Sorry, the dog is barking. I'm assuming somebody's either walking by or who knows. So hopefully she won't keep it up. And I have crumb cake ink that I'm using to ink up the tree image. And we're just going to stamp it here on this piece of Whisper White cardstock, again, that I had pre-cut with one of the stitched rectangle dies. All right, so just going to go down. And if you use a larger piece of cardstock, you certainly can do that, and then cut it back later. Again, I only did it for kind of demonstration purposes here. Usually I die cut it as my very last step, but when we're doing this here, I wanted to make sure that I kind of had a few steps done ahead. So, all right, the pool party ink is what I'm using for the little kind of bubbly looking image on here. I don't know what else to call it, dots, I guess you can call it, I'm not sure. They look like bubbles to me, so that's what I'm going to go with. Hey, Jackie, thanks for joining today. And I'm going to take that image and I'm going to ink it with pool party ink. We're going to stamp it on scrap paper and then going to stamp it over the background here. And same thing here. Going to do the same thing a second time to make it sort of look like snow is flying. Hopefully it looks like snow is flying. That's sort of what it looked like to me. And while I have the pool party ink out, I'm going to go ahead and ink up. This is sort of the ground image, and I'm trying to make it look like it's snowing as well. So did that in pool party ink, and just going to stamp it down here after I stamped it on scrap paper again. Stamp it down at the bottom. So we've got that. Sort of looks like a shadow in the snow to me. And I will set that aside. And then I'm going to bring out Coastal Cabana. And this is the little snowflake image from the Life is Beautiful stamp set. And I'm just going to stamp that a few times across the front of the card. Or front of the piece of paper, I guess I should say. This isn't a card yet. It's just a panel of paper. So... all right, and while I'm doing that, I did want to remind you I do have a special ordering bonus. If you order either the Quite Curvy stamp set bundle or the Quite Curvy variety bundle, I have a special set of tutorials that we are handing out with that purchase. So you definitely will want to get it because there's some good cards. It's 5 cards with video tutorials and written tutorials for you if you purchase that bundle from me. So. All right, I've got the little birdhouse image here, and this is real red ink, and I'm going to go up above and try not to put my nose right on the camera and stamp that hanging from the tree. And then we're going to adhere this to the card front with a couple Stampin' dimensionals. So... but yeah, the Quite Curvy stamp set bundle, we've got a good set of 5 tutorials, 5 cards that are exclusive to the tutorials. A team of us got together and put the cards together for you, and each did a video on it. So it's something a little bit different than what the normal tutorials that I hand out with an order. So you'll definitely will want to get it if you're interested in either of those bundles. Just a little added bonus for you if you order it from me. So, all right, so we've got that adhered to the card front. The next thing I'm going to do is grab a little bit of Stampin' Seal, and I'm just going to go ahead and try to get it going here on the card, and just put a little bit here on the card front, sort of down here at the bottom. Hopefully you can see it in there. And then I'm going to take some of the Snowflake Splendor ribbon, which is, it's a 1/4 inch long or 1/4 inch wide ribbon. And I'm going to adhere a little bit here on the card front. I'm going to do one piece, I think right here, and then trim it off. And I measured it, and it ended up being about 3 inches that I used for my piece of ribbon here. But it wasn't like a precise measurement that I did on it, so maybe it may be 3 1/8, somewhere in that. I just basically wanted it to kind of hang over where the sentiment was at, as well as make sure it didn't hang off the edge of the card, because then it becomes a pain to put it in an envelope, and nobody wants that. So, all right, so we've got those two adhered to the card front. Next up, we're going to do a little heat embossing with Versamark ink and the sentiment, again from the Wrapped in Christmas stamp set. So we've got Versamark ink. Just going to ink this up. Hey, Dawn, thanks so much for hopping in from Michigan. So, and Barbara, I don't know if I said hello, so I just saw you popped in here as well. All right, thanks for joining today. So we're just going to stamp in Versamark, and then I've got silver Stampin' Emboss powder. We're going to heat emboss the image. So first things first, I've got a little plastic Ziploc container that I store my embossing powder in, and just a spoon. And it makes it easy for me to just hold the image right over the top of the bowl, and that usually contains most of the mess, unless I knock the entire bowl over, which I have done before, and then it's a huge mess, but it contains it mostly if I can keep it in the container. So turn it on the heat tool to the level 2 setting, which is the heat embossing setting. Level 1 is for drying ink, or paper. So if you do watercoloring or anything like that, and you want the paper to dry a little faster, you can use the level 1 setting to heat that up and hurry it along a little bit. And level 2 is heat embossing. So we're just going to use the level 2 and aim it here at the sentiment. And wait a second, there we go. It starts, as it starts to kind of become smooth and shiny, that means that it's done embossing. All right. You just want to make sure that it's all smooth, but you don't want to hold it over any part of it for too long, because you can actually burn embossing powder. Again, ask me how I know, because I've done it. So, all right, now I need just a second for this to cool off before I run it through the die cutting machine. And again, I'm going to be using the stitched shapes die, the oval from the Stitch Shapes die, and it's the second largest of the ovals, or second smallest, I'm sorry, of the ovals. I'm going to run this through my die cutting machine, which is right over here to my right. So I'm going to be off screen and making a bunch of racket for a second. Hopefully y'all are enjoying your Tuesday. It's been kind of the normal craziness here. So far, my younger daughter is still in school. My older daughter just got switched back to virtual school again for the next 2 weeks, and we will see how long that ends up lasting, but they're saying so far it's 2 weeks, so hopefully she'll be able to go back to school after Thanksgiving, it sounds like. After the break, they're tentatively planning for the kids to return, but yeah, all kinds of crazy. So they had a couple of people in their school that have tested positive, and so they decided to shut everything down. So, all right. Hey, Mary, thanks so much for hopping in today as well. Glad that you're joining. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and adhere this right over the top of the ribbon. And again, when I put my dimensionals on, I guess I should have explained when I did that, I slide them kind of right up to the edge so that I make sure that I'm catching the cardstock. It doesn't matter if it's on the ribbon, but I want to make sure that some of the dimensional ends up on the cardstock, which hopefully you can tell that they will, just because the ribbon doesn't always hold extremely well. So you want to make sure it's stuck down on paper so that it stays on the card front and doesn't come flying off when you go to put it in the envelope, or somebody goes to take it out of the envelope, either way. So, hey, Gail, thanks for joining today. So I have got a couple of, this is such an old beat up pack, I'm almost embarrassed to hold it up, but it's the metallic pearls, and they're silver and gold in here. My gold ones I have jammed in the back of the pack, but it's silver and gold, and I'm going to just adhere on a couple of the little metallic pearls, and hopefully, there we go, got one of them on. And then stick a couple of others on here right around the sentiment. And the final one down here underneath, kind of over by the tree. I think we'll put it right on top of the tree. So, all right, so that is it for the card front. So pretty simple, but again, I just love this stamp set. I don't know, I think it's so cool, and I love the little dots. I'm not sure what it is that I love about them, but the little dots, the little bubbly looking things floating through the trees, I was really happy to be able to use that image finally. It's been a while. I've been using it for mostly fall cards, so I was excited to get to give it a try for a winter one instead. All right, on the top of the Whisper White panel for the inside of the card, this one's cut to 4 by 5 1/4. And again, all of the cardstock cuts and details about this, the stamp set information, all that will be out on my blog tomorrow, which is stampwithamyk.com, and I will link it up here in the comments of this video so that you'll be able to find it if you want to refer back to it and see what I'm talking about and verify that I'm correct on any of the measurements, because I am well known for saying the wrong thing in a video. As far as the measurements go, I often get them incorrect, so you will definitely want to double check them before assuming that they are right. So, and I'm just stamping the little bubbles again in Pool Party ink, stamped off once, and then adding the snowflakes in here in Coastal Cabana ink over the top of the panel. And then the final thing that I'm going to add in here is the sentiment from the Wrapped in Christmas stamp set. And I'm going to be using Coastal Cabana ink for that. Oh, thanks so much, Gail. I'm glad that you liked the card. It was a fun one to put together. So, all right, let me hope that I got this on here fairly straight. Whoops. You know what? I probably better flip that over and try again, because that was not straight at all. I thought I had it on there straight, but yeah, no. That looks much better. Yes, so let's do the little bubbles again a second time, because I'm sure you found that fascinating to watch, but we'll do the bubbles and the snowflakes across the top a second time. Sorry, I just couldn't, you know, sometimes if it's a little crooked, I can sort of, you know, close one eye and be like, I think it's okay. That one was way too crooked. I couldn't do it. So, all right. Then we'll stamp the snowflakes again here in Coastal Cabana ink across the top. Some fun little winter images here for you. And again, just sort of a fun little Christmas card, so hopefully you enjoy it. All right, then we're going to take the card and flip it over, and we're going to adhere the goofed upside down with a little Stampin' Seal. And again, I know I've had some people asking about Stampin' Seal, and how I find it easiest to use and keep it rolling fairly smoothly is by doing that little flip over trick like that. That usually keeps the adhesive right there at the end, and it breaks it off easily. So that's my one little tip. I love the adhesive because it's super, super sticky, but you know, you kind of, sometimes you have to use your finger to roll it forward a little bit, and then once it gets rolling, then just make sure you use that flip over technique, and that seems to keep it in the right spot. So I'm going to turn this over on the back so I can try not to smash too much of my embossing that I've got on the front, and run the bone folder over it. And that's it for the card. So this is the one that I've made ahead of time, the one we made on screen today. Hopefully you'll like it, and definitely you need to consider purchasing the Life is Beautiful stamp set and the Wrapped in Christmas, because they both, you know, I love the sentiments in the Wrapped in Christmas, and I love the images in the Life is Beautiful stamp set, so what's not to love about both of them? So, all right, well, thank you very much for joining me today. I appreciate you being here and spending part of Tuesday with me. I will plan to be back on YouTube Live on Friday around 2 o'clock Eastern Time, and then back here live on Facebook again around 2 o'clock Eastern Time next week, Tuesday. So thanks again for joining. Have a fantastic rest of your week, and we will chat soon.